professional football has become a major money story. Brian Shackman.
That's American football, right? If you haven't heard about this story, you've been pretty focused on work or meditating in the mountains, because this is the story of the day in the sports world. A quick recap here. The NFL has locked out its referees in a labor dispute. Replacement refs have been bad, and on Monday Night Football, it all fell apart. By the call, the Golden Tate should be credited with a touchdown, but they admitted a penalty should have been called that negated it. If whatever that's worth, this is the quote. There should have been a penalty for an offensive pass interference, which would have ended the game. It was not called and is not reviewable in instant replay. No comment there about the catch. The result of the game is final, and that result rocked the betting world. A $150 to $300 million betting swing, but several gambling sources tell CNBC that the number is most likely over $8 billion. Here's how. Jay Cornegay, who runs the sports book at the Las Vegas Hotel and Casino, says 12 to 15 million was bet on the game in Vegas, which usually is 1 to 2% of the global take. You include internet, overseas, etc. That's talking about 750 million. Now consider that there's a loser for every winner. And we're talking about, Sue, a $1.5 potentially billion swing when it comes to gambling. It's big numbers.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Full disclosure, as I said, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan.
So it's okay, Sue.
This is not going over well with me. But despite that, we're going to talk more about this with Brian and bring in Jack Brewer. He played for 5 years in the NFL, including 3 years of them as the team captain. His post-NFL career included stops at Harvard Business School, Wharton, Merrill Lynch, Private Bank. He's now the CEO of the Brewer Group, an investment and global advisory firm. Jack, it's good to see you again. Welcome back to CNBC.
Great to see you.
You know, a lot of people now are talking about that this is the tipping point, that the NFL now has to do something to get the regular refs back in. Can they withstand a hit like what happened last night?
No, they can. I think this is a little bit different. You know, this situation, really brought everything to light. The owners and the players have battled throughout a lockout. But now the fans really want the integrity of the game back. It's about the fan. It's not about the coaches, not about the players, not about the owners. It's about the fans. And you have to give them a quality product on the field.
But ironically, 20 million people watching on NBC on Sunday night. No sponsors are clamoring. I mean, unless people start vacating the stands or there's some rally. I mean, can the players do anything about it, or the players' union?
But if the legitimacy of the results affects the ranking, which affects eventually the Super Bowl, which affects the playoffs, then I would think the fans might not. I mean, if you can't believe the statistics, then why do you go to the game? I mean, that would be my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, football is the purest sport in America. That's the reason why it's beloved by everyone. It's because you watch people on the field. They're gladiators. Guys are going against each other. You do not see any type of illegitimacy in football normally. This is the first time that that's ever been questioned.
So how do you think it ends? I mean, is this the tipping point? Does the NFL now have to make a deal with the professional referees and get this over with? Or, I mean, that statement didn't seem like they were giving in very much, Brian.
No, there was sort of like an end around. They said, well, we're not going to comment on the play that's not reviewable. It stands. But it should have been called over here, because you don't even see the play early enough when there was a push-off and they should have had a call.
It doesn't sound like softening to me.
No, and listen, and again, you can comment on this too, because the argument with the referees is about a pension plan. They want them to go into 401ks instead of a pension plan. The NFL has the money to settle the dispute with the referees. They just don't want to unless they're forced to, right?
It's about winning and losing. The owners in the National Football League don't like to lose, no matter what the battle is. So,
neither do the fans.
Exactly, but right now they are. And so,
I'm sorry.
I'm an ex-Viking, so I can't be on the Packers side, but that game last night
okay. We'll forgive you for that.
Bad.
How do you think this affects the money flow of the game? Because it is going to have a financial impact. The question is how much, do you think?
It depends on how long this thing lasts. Once the replacement officials are out of there and the regular guys come back to work, I think then things will get back to normalcy. But right now, you just said it could be potentially $1.5 billion, lost through gambling. I mean, gambling is a big part of the National Football League, whether the owners want to talk about it or not. So, you don't ever want that credibility to be lost.
It's funny. I think you probably would have batted the ball down or made sure he didn't catch. He was a D-back,
I know he was.
But I could catch, so I may have tried to pick it off.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you again. Brian Shackman and Jack Brewer, former NFL player, CEO of the Brewer Group.